Good morning, guys. A mile into my run. Calf is seems to be holding up okay. Both calves kind of have something wrong with them. This one I don't have wrapped up as much, but everything seems to be doing just fine. Run is going well. I'm feeling good. So already with just a mile in, not bad. So yeah, so run is going well. It is windy, very windy. A little bit raining, very cold. But this is my kind of running weather. This is the way I want it. So I hope you could hear all that with the wind blowing in the mic. Hopefully you heard that. Anyway, so far so good. I have to admit, out the door, I was a little nervous. I was more nervous. It was like I used to get when I first started running. I would get like them nerves when I get ready to go out and do a run, simply because I didn't know how things were gonna go. And that was this morning. I had no clue how things were gonna go, but so far, so good. I'm gonna see what I can do today. I'm definitely going over 3 miles, but by what I mean by I'm gonna see what I can do is how far I can go. Maybe I shouldn't do that. My wife's voice just kicked into my head, and she told me not to get too rambunctious out there because I haven't ran in a while. She told me to take care of myself, so 3 miles might be the limit today. Maybe 3 miles should be the limit today, simply because I gotta be careful. I don't need to risk injury again and then be down. It's been a while since I ran last, so I gotta take it easy. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna do this run. I'm happy to be out here running. Legit happiness right now to be out here running. It's gorgeous out here too. Leaves are still green, which that's not gonna last much longer. I'm surprised they're still green, to be honest with you. And the geese are out here going crazy. Leaves are falling, but it's still a lush green forest or woods, timber, whatever you want to call it. But this will be changing very soon, very quickly. I'd be surprised if I run out here next week, this is all starting to change. Leaves are starting to fall. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next clip. Another runner. What's up, YouTube? Mineral water. It's kind of weird. A little different. 0 calories, 0 sweetener, carbonated water. I thought I'd try it. It's weird. Alrighty, guys, so my run went okay. It is cold in the nerd cave and I'm trying to warm it up. I forgot to turn the heater back on when I left yesterday, so now it's cold. So crank this bad boy up. We'll get it warm in here eventually. I lit up the background. I will eventually hide that light somewhere so you can't see it. I got a desk light here. It's like a studio light here, studio light there. I've got one other studio light, but I'm not gonna put it up. But that eventually I'll try to move it somewhere so where it's hidden. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, my run went okay this morning. It felt good to get out there. God, it felt so good to run. Oh, I truly do love that. Just the feeling of being out there and yes, I'm exerting my body. Yes, it is tiring. Yes, you know, you're in the elements, and like this morning, it was cold and it was misting rain. Not what most people would consider a very comfortable environment to be in, but it's just all of that stuff is what makes me love it. Like, I'm out there, I'm exerting energy, I'm making myself tired, and I'm in the elements. And why do I like that? I don't know. I don't know. I just do. I just know that is something very positive to do. And through the pain and the elements and just that stuff, I'm doing something very positive for me and my body. And that keeps me wanting to run. I am struggling though, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I didn't do the shot of me walking into the nerd cave, because I'm injured again. I don't know what is going on with this leg. I don't know what's going on, but I did finish my run, and I got my run in, and I probably should have backed off when I felt the injury happen, but I didn't. I just kept running. I am so sick and tired of injury, and it really irks me when it happens, and I think I can push through it. So anyway, there's that. The run went good. It felt good. My first mile in, as you guys seen in the intro, was fantastic. I saw another runner out there. The field was full of geese, and they just kept flying over, making all this noise, and this misty rain, and I was just feeling the run. And then about mile two, I felt it pull, and I tightened my brace. I stretched, I walked, and then I started running again. And then the pain just kept coming, and I would back off a little bit. And I really tried to do the right things. I just wanted to run. I hate that. I hate being restricted from something I really want to do. And injury is restricting me from something I really want to do. But either way, I got my run in. I'm really gonna try to work on getting this thing back in shape so I can continue to try to keep easing into the run, and we'll see what happens. So there you have that. I was just going to talk a little bit to you guys today about videography, what I've been doing for a living, what I've been doing to earn money. Okay, first of all, videography for me is just a creative outlet. It's a way to create something like my vision, and try to create it and show it to people for enjoyment, for entertainment reasons. And it's a fun creative outlet. It's a fun way to make things. It's the same way with me, being a creative. It's the same way with me as far as if I was to draw something and show it to you, or digitally draw something and show it to you and you enjoy it. It's really, I want people to see what I do and want them to enjoy it. So it's probably kind of a selfish thing, maybe. I don't know if it is or not. I'm not trying to be selfish. Actually, I'm trying to share what I make with other people. So I think that's just the opposite of selfish. I don't know. So I've got some tips, some things that I do in the way of videography, some things that, just some techniques that I use, things that I've really thought through, things that I've thought about. Now I will tell you, I've been doing YouTube for nearly 2 years, playing around with cameras and angles and different things to be creative. And I'm fairly new to the new equipment. I'm fairly new to that. But over the 2 years, I have developed techniques and things to use to make better video, in my opinion, better video. So I'm going to share those with you guys. I'm going to share with you some of the techniques and things that I've kind of developed and ideas, and probably some of this has probably come from research and taking advice from other people through research, searching the internet, as I did so much in the beginning when I first started making videos. So yeah, I'm just going to go over some tips and techniques and just things that may be useful if you want to get into this line of work, or if you just want to get into YouTube. Maybe some things in the way of using your camera to the best of its ability. So some things that I try to keep in mind is a lot of people, when they pick up a camera, they think that, okay, everything's got to be symmetrical, and you got to keep someone in the center of the frame, and no. In my opinion, no. If you want to keep it interesting, and you want to not use symmetry. Not that symmetry is bad. Sometimes to get something in center frame. But here's my take on this. Say at HorrorCon. Sometimes I would put the subject in the center of the frame as I'm interviewing them. Simply because of how the scene was set. But sometimes they would be off frame because they had a banner here, so you'd have them off frame, so they would not be center frame, and there would be a banner. So here they are, here's their banner, and you're interviewing them, and they're talking about what they're doing. So you don't always have to keep everything in center frame. Get creative with that, and being creative, if you want to get into videography and doing fun edits and things like that, editing is great, but you have to use the camera to the best of its ability. You have to use the camera to get the proper shots. So the camera has to do the bulk of the work, and then when you get into editing, it's that much easier. Plus, it's you've got your shots in the way you want your shots to do proper editing. So don't worry about centering things all the time. Play around with angles and do different things, and have fun with it. Have fun with the camera. Have fun with its abilities and what it can do in the way of focusing. With this particular camera that I use, it has touch focus, so I can touch the screen and focus in on the foreground of a subject, and then I can switch that focus to the background or to whatever else I want to focus on. Play around with things like that to get creative and stuff. Now, another thing is I don't zoom with the camera. If I want to be zoomed in on something, I'll zoom in and then I'll start recording. If I want to do a zoom, say a gradual zoom in on something, again, the HorrorCon, I zoomed in on a guy's drawing. Well, if you try to do that with the camera, my particular camera, you manually zoom with the lens. So you zoom in, you zoom out. That's not going to be very fluid. I mean, it could be. You could get very good at doing that, but you gotta grab the lens, and so you're gonna get a little shakiness. So I do that in editing. I zoom in on stuff in editing. So I have in mind, hey, I want to zoom in on this guy's drawing. So I get focused in on his drawing. I do zoom in on it, but then when I want to get that continuous zooming in, I do that through editing. And in editing, I can do a nice, clean, steady zoom in, and it looks nice. So I use my camera's zoom, but not as I'm recording. I'm not trying to zoom in on something. Just a helpful tip. Sometimes, depending on the camera you're using, you'll hear the motor. If it's a motorized, you'll hear motor zooming. You'll hear that in your final video, or it's just it's hard to do when you're doing it manually. So just another tip. That's just kind of what I do. Another thing I do is I'm not staying in one spot. I'm not like, bam, I'm going to stay here. I'm getting pans. I'm panning up or sideways or whatever. I'm getting different angles. I'm not taking the tripod, setting it down right in front, hitting record, standing there for a few minutes, stopping and walking away. You want to get them pans. You want to do the zooms. In production, but you want to get them pans and them tilts and different things, different angles. Just it helps keep things creative and more interesting than just bam, here's the camera, there you go, let's hit record, okay, we're done, walk to the next one, set it out. I mean, how boring would a video be if that's all you did all the time? So keep creative thoughts in your head when you're recording with just the simple things the camera can do with a nice fluid pan or tilt, and just do that to keep things more interesting and more creative. Speaking of panning and zooming and tilting, you also don't want to be panning all over the place, and just freaking out. Like you don't want to pan here and pan. I mean, you don't want to go crazy with it either. You can overuse anything, and you can overdo anything. So I hate to make this sound all difficult. It's really not. It's just things that I keep in my brain when I'm recording, and things that I'm trying to think of the final result and what I want to do as I'm recording, which totally helps when you get into editing, because you're not not stuck at the starting point. You're not stuck at, okay, where do I begin? You know, you have in mind kind of what you want your final video to look like, and then you utilize that as you're out there, you know, recording and doing your different stuff. And as we're talking about angles and different things, don't shoot everything from a standing position. Don't shoot everything tripod, standing tripod, you know, here we go, let's shoot this. Now, tripods come in handy, and they're great for image stabilization, and that's very important when you're trying to shoot a promo or a professional video. You want your images to be stable. You don't want shaky footage, and you want nice, clean, clear, you know, stabilized footage. So the use of a tripod is great, but that tripod, it can shrink down. That tripod, or you can use a handheld image stabilizer, which is I have. Actually, I will show you. This is a handheld image stabilizer. You put your camera on here, and what I do when I use this is exactly how I hold it. I don't grip it like this, you know, because that's, you know, that doesn't work. I hold it like this. I pretend, okay, pretend that your camera is a very full cup of coffee, and you want to be careful. You don't want any abrupt stops because it's going to spill. You know, you want to use this. So I honestly use it, and it does get heavy, but I honestly use it with 2 fingers, and it gives me almost that gimbal fluidness of the camera. So when I'm recording, you're almost getting that gimbal type of fluidness with your camera. So things to keep in mind. You not only you've got to use your equipment, maybe even in ways it wasn't meant to be used. I'm not talking about using this as a hammer, but although it's very solid, I'm talking like use it to where, you know, they do put finger grips on here so you can hold this and walk around with it. But when you're doing this, you know, that's pretty abrupt. You know, it's not real fluid. So I think on the terms of a gimbal, which I use for different things. I have handheld gimbals for my GoPro and different things, and you want it to have that fluid. So when you're recording and you're trying to get those shots and you're tilting up, you know, there's ways of using this. You want to tilt up, and you want to tilt up nice and smooth. There's just ways of using your gear that is helpful in getting nice stable footage. So yes, stabilizing your images, setting them on tripods, using them as stabilizers are great, but don't just set your gear up on a tripod and shoot everything at eye level. Don't do that. You use angles and pans and tilts, and be creative. It's all about being creative and planning out your final result. Now, another thing that you should not do is just snap shooting. You go up 2 or 3 seconds a shot, 2 or 3 seconds a shot, because the more footage you have of even one thing, even if you're say I'm using HorrorCon because I just finished up there. At HorrorCon, you go to a booth, you only get 2 or 3 seconds of that booth and move on. You want to get as much footage of that booth and at that booth and talking and different things, and have the camera running at all times, even if you're just talking to the people and getting footage, because the more footage you have, the more you have to work with. If you only got 2 or 3 seconds at each spot, you don't have a whole lot to work with when you get into the final editing stage of creating the promo for the customer. The more footage you have, the better. Trust me, you're gonna appreciate that when you've taken, and even if you've gone back to that booth, you know, another time and set up, say you went there and you shot some stuff and then you went back to get an interview, get as much footage as you possibly can, because you will never regret that. Yeah, trust me, you will not regret that. Another thing is backlighting. Or lighting in general. Now, there is things like matte boxes and different things, lens attachments and stuff that will help you with overhead light or outside light if you're outside, to prevent lens flares and things like that. So there's equipment that you can use to help with that. But a good rule of thumb if you're outside is try to keep the sun at your back. Try to keep the sun shining on the subject, not shining on the camera. That always seems to work out better. Okay, so now when it comes to your camera, setting up your camera is super important. My overall advice for anybody, if they was to ask me, what is your #1 tip for shooting good video? Never shoot in auto mode. always shoot in manual mode. Always have full control of your camera. Don't let the camera determine what is the right settings for what you're recording. You're the boss. You're the one who decides what looks good in the monitor, what looks right. So always be in control of your camera. Always be the one controlling each setting. Auto mode is a no-no. No auto mode. You can control the brightness. You can control everything. Always set it in manual mode so you are in control. Always set your white balance. If at each place you go to, lighting will change, will be behind you, above you, beside you. If you're indoors, that lighting's going to be, even if it's a big place that's well lit, you never know where that lighting's going to be bouncing off from. So set your white balance, and at every location, set your white balance. And just planning your shoot, planning, like as I said before, if you're outside where the sun is located, if you're inside where your light sources are located, trying to plan out your shoots, looking around. Now, granted, some people, like when you're in a room full of people at a convention or something like that, and you're looking up at the ceiling and looking around, people are going to think, well, what's this weirdo doing? But it doesn't matter, because if you're doing this for a job, if you're getting paid to do this, don't care what people think. You got to plan your shot. You got to plan, you know, what looks good. You gotta look into your camera and move it around and figure out where you need to stand, where your subject's standing, and even if you have to direct people, 9 times out of 10 when you're pointing a very hefty camera at them and asking them to do something, they're going to do it. They're going to listen to you. I don't know why. Probably they're assuming you're the professional. So if you have to say, hey, can you just move over here just a little bit, better lighting, that's perfect, thank you. No big deal. No big deal. Most people are okay with that. So plan your shots, plan your shoots, and don't worry about what people think. Because trust me, when I run around like a crazy person at these conventions or these concerts, I'm all over the place. If I go one spot and I try to get a shot, no, it's not quite right, I'll move, and I'm everywhere. And believe me, you can ask my business partner Zach, you can ask my wife. I run around these places like a maniac, and I don't care, because I just want to get that good shot. So plan your shoot. Absolutely plan your shoot. Figure out your lighting. Communicate with your subjects, and you'll get all the benefit. Because when I say you want to get the good shots while you can, so when you go into editing, it just makes your job that much easier. I'm just saying, from little experience, not a load of experience. I'm not saying I know everything. These are just some techniques through research and just doing it that work for me, and I'm just trying to pass them on to you. So plan your shots. Now, with that said about communicating with your subjects, if you're trying to get the real life actions of someone, if you're trying to capture, say if it's in a documentary or something, and you're trying to capture what their real reactions to things and stuff, and just what they're doing, and make it as real as possible, like in the way of vlogging. So you want that to be as real as possible. Now, vlogging is a little different because you're holding the camera and you're looking at it. But if you're shooting someone in documentary style, or you're trying to get the real reaction of something, just be inconspicuous. Just try to stay out of the way. Less communication, less noise, less giant camera gear in someone's face. Try to get back. That's when you can zoom in on someone. You use a better zoom lens. Get in on someone close, and just try to be less of a giant camera in the room, so you get that natural reaction. But then again, that goes along with planning your shoot. Now, it depends on what you're shooting. Now, if you're trying to get that type of inconspicuous, you don't want them to really be aware or act like they're aware that you're there, that's how you start planning things out. It depends on what you're shooting, and each situation and each scenario is going to be different. So you've really got to think it through. Like, I want to get a natural reaction, so I need to linger back. I need to just zoom in on them and stay out of their way. It kind of goes along with if you're shooting a live event. You want to get up there, you want to get the cool shots, you want to kind of not be in their face, because you don't want to distract them of performing. You don't want to distract them from entertaining. Sometimes, and that will if they got a camera in their face. So that's why I drop down real low and I'll zoom in from an angle behind a speaker or something like that, just to not be so obvious. And plus I don't want to be in people's way when they're trying to watch the band or whatever. And with that said, I'll talk a little bit about audio. You're not going to get great audio through your camera. So even if you mic your camera with a very nice mic, you're not going to get great audio. You're going to get some distortion with the low bass, and like a lot of that low bass coming through the mic is really, even if you go like this, there's a Video Mic Pro, you can change the decibels and things like that in settings on the mic, but you're still going to get some distortion. So my advice with that would be use digital audio recorders. Get there early and ask to plug into the soundboard. Listen through headphones into the audio recorder and make sure everything's sounding good, and do adjustments on just that specific stereo out channel, and do that. Do a separate recording, especially at live concert shows. And that'll lead me into, since we're talking about audio, that leads me into also listening to what's coming in through your mic in your camera. So when you're at an event and you're shooting, I put headphones on. I usually plug into my monitor because I got a big monitor that I mount to my camera. I usually plug into that, and I listen to what's coming through my microphone and into the camera, and and make sure everything's, especially because you really want to make sure your microphone's working also. You want to make sure that because sometimes it happens that maybe the mic plug comes jarred loose, or something happens where your audio is not happening. So you always want to make sure when you set up and you're getting ready to go, especially if you're doing like someone doing a keynote or something like that, someone's speaking and you want to capture that audio, you definitely want to make sure your microphone is working. So put on some headphones, plug in, give it a test listen, and make sure everything's functioning that way. Because the last thing you want to do is get home, throw your SD card in your computer, go into your editor, and you have zero audio. That would be terrifying. That has not happened to me yet. Cross my fingers, knock on wood. I don't need that to happen. So since we're talking about audio, make sure everything's working. Make sure your audio devices, your microphone's working, things like that. If you're using a digital audio recorder, which I have the H1 that I use, if you're using that, and I've tested it on my own soundboard equipment, I've got soundboards, like I've got 2 of these hooked up, and I've tested it on that, and it works well. And you can plug a headset into that and listen and make sure everything's working well there too. Pay attention to your audio, because video doesn't really mean much without proper audio and good audio. So yeah, in the way of audio, there's a load of things you can use to capture audio. As I was saying, the H1, the audio digital recorder, a good mic. The Video Mic Pro is a fantastic mic. There's also just a video mic that you can plug into your camera, and it powers off of your camera. The Video Mic Pro powers off a 9-volt battery. Using lapel mics, if you want to interview someone, run a lapel mic. I've got a lapel mic with a 20-foot cord. I can plug right into my camera and run it up and clip it to someone, and they can use that. Wireless microphones, you can use handheld microphones. Just plug into right into your camera and have a handheld microphone. Anything to get the good audio. Plus, you got to determine what's going to work. So if it's a noisy area and you're wanting to interview someone, probably clipping a lapel to them is a great idea, or having a handheld you can take right up to them is a great idea. Or you can use the H1 as the digital audio recorder. You can use it as a microphone. You can absolutely put like one of these foam covers over your H1 and use it as a mic and just sync audio later. Those are just good audio options. So I think that about covers everything that I try to do, and all the stuff that I have running through my very busy brain when I'm getting ready to shoot video. My equipment is nice. My equipment is helpful. Now, I am one to say, like in the way of photography or in the way of video, if you're trying to work for yourself and tell your own story, it doesn't really matter what you use in the way of equipment. It's the story you tell. But when you whether it's photography or videography, when you're wanting to give someone some quality stuff and they're paying you for it, equipment is really important. Equipment is super important. So it takes a little money to get there. Hold on. It has taken me a little money to get there, but I don't regret it. To have the monitor mounted to the top of my camera, tilted back a little bit on the tripod. My microphone is on an armature that I bring out towards the front of the camera to get closer to the subject. What else do I have? Oh, I have great mics. I have a great monitor. Just loads and loads of memory cards and batteries and extras that you need to take with you. Image stabilizers are great to have. I have a bag full of stuff. I have I have the matte boxes. I have all the lens attachments, filters, different things to use that make capturing the video in good quality. I have the focus knobs. I have all this stuff that just is gonna help me make a quality video, and that's important to me. I want to be creative and I want to create for someone, but I want to do it in a way that's top notch. So yeah, just keep all that in mind. Just, you know, thinking of where you're at, pay attention. I always want to get to a shoot early, sometimes way early, just to get a walk around and planning where I want to shoot. Now, if I'm getting to a spot where I'm just doing an interview with someone and we're talking tops of an hour, get there early, talk to the person, get to know them, try to make them comfortable, because it's always uncomfortable being in front of a camera. For a lot of people, decide where your lighting is, what time of the day it is, how quick lighting may change, and if you're shooting outside, if you're inside, it's finding the right spot and finding the right lighting for the subject and trying to stay out of people's way. If you're at a busy convention or something and you want to interview someone or whatever, it's just planning your shoot and working with it. Might as well make your job easier on you. And don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask people to do certain things. I got loads of interviews at HorrorCon. It was me walking up saying, hey, are you willing to tell us a little bit about what you do? Now, a lot of people were very nervous to do that, and so I just stood there and had a conversation with them and told them, you know, it's really no big deal. You know, just talk to the camera, give it, you know, like, I was like, how would you talk to me if I came up and I said, what is it exactly that you do here? You would explain that to me. And they're like, yeah. I was like, just explain it to me then. I'm just standing here behind the camera, just explain it to me. And it really helped loosen them up and help them, you know, to record, because I probably would have got a lot less interviews if I just walked up, set the camera down and said, tell me what you're doing here. I'm recording, you know. I probably would have got a lot less interviewing done. But I went up and I just talked to him and I said, is it cool if you talk to the camera a little bit and tell me about what you do? And if they got nervous, I just tried to help them out with that. I understand camera nerves. I understand, God, I hope I've been in focus. I understand what it's like to get freaked out in front of a camera, because when I first started this stuff, it was terrifying. And it's terrifying to most people. Most people are like, oh my God, like, I don't know what it is about a camera, but when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, dear God, it's staring into my soul. Or not. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that is just some of my video maker tips. Just some things that I try to keep in mind when I'm out shooting video. And I think they're good tips. I think they're helpful tips. I think if you're trying to get into this line of work or just wanting to do YouTube, these are things to keep in mind in all aspects of doing video, whether it's YouTube or for a living or for someone else. Now, there's a big difference when it comes into being an editor and editing your own work and doing that in a very creative and a promotional way, and something that the customer's gonna like, and it's eye-catching, and you know, it's kind of a package deal with me. I am a graphic designer, have been for 15 years, well over 15 years, so I understand the layout of an editing program. So and a lot of them are pretty much the same. And videography is no different. When you go into a video editing program, whatever you may use, whether it's After Effects or whatever you're using, it's layers. You're in a timeline and things are layered in. You have your video, your audio, whatever effects and things that you're using, it's all in layers. So most editing programs are on that kind of basis. Everything's kind of in layers. Graphic design, your layer layering stuff. Video editing, you're layering stuff. Even audio, you're layering stuff. So, and I know all that stuff. I know graphic design. I know the video editor very well. I know audio editing and different things. And I'm very much learning loads about this camera, but it's not from sitting around hoping the camera does all the work. It's from gobs of research and really having a drive and a love for this. Being a videographer is fantastic. I love every bit of it. And I want to produce quality stuff. I have a lot to learn. There's no doubt about it. And it's gaining experience through the years that will make me one of the best videographers out there. I guarantee it. I'm not going to give up. So over the course of time, I'm just going to keep researching and learning and advancing and growing and enhancing my camera equipment and moving forward and keeping up with it, because there are videographers out there all over, and there's some damn good ones. And you know, if you wanna hang with the big dogs, you can't sit on the porch with the puppies. Isn't that what they say? Anyway, guys, don't buy this water. I mean, it's weird. It's lime, sparkling natural mineral water with lime flavor and other natural flavors, and it's I'm trying to quench my thirst, but it's just got a weird, it must be that mineral water, I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of my daily vlogs. Weekend vlog starts tomorrow. Today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. I start the weekend vlog, and let's hope it's an amazing weekend. Mountainous is going to be in the weekend vlog most likely, because he don't care about being in front of a camera. He is a vlogger, or a video YouTube maker, and he is supposed to be here, I think, tonight. Hoping to hang out with him some, get him on camera and do some collab work together, and hang out on each other's YouTube channels for a little bit. Mountainous is fun. He's a cool guy, and he knows. Well, if you like snowboarding, survivalist ninjas, you're gonna love this guy. I may have said that before, but it's true. Snowboarding survivalist ninja, no doubt about it. This guy can go out into the woods and survive no problem. This guy could probably kick your ass with no problem. He's been studying martial arts for a very long time, and he snowboards, and he does BMX and all sorts of stuff. I mean, he's a man of many talents, and I'm happy to call him a friend. And his brother is Zach, and Zach is my business partner in Real Image Media Solutions. So it's kind of cool. I've known Jason for a very long time, and now I work. He and his brother and I work together in a company, in a business. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of my daily vlogs, and I will see you guys in Monday's video, because this is Friday. It's Thursday, but this goes up Friday, so I'll see you guys Monday. Bye. And I am injured, so I'm not gonna do the walkout scene. I'm just gonna go out of frame somehow. I'll see you guys Monday.